Hey, Kimberly here, and welcome to episode number 3 of my Flosstube. Thank you all so much for watching my first 2 videos, for liking them, commenting on them, and for subscribing to my channel. I am having a lot of fun making these videos, so it is awesome to see that you are enjoying them as well. So this last week has been fairly chill. I did a lot of running around, which is par for the course when you live rural. You spend a lot of time behind the driving wheel because nothing is close. We have a cameo of Spice here. He leaves me alone most of the time, and as soon as I hit the record button, he magically appears. So he apparently is a ham and just loves being in front of the camera. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. So I did run to the city this week to pick up some supplies for some upcoming cross-stitch projects that I'm hoping to work on. I also wanted to look for finishing stuff and just do a little bit of shopping. The city that I go to is about an hour and a half away. It is the closest city to us. So it is a bit of a trek, but not too bad considering we are rural, like I said. Okay. For sure something's getting knocked down back there, for sure. I didn't get everything that I wanted to do there. Yep. As I was saying, I didn't get everything I wanted to get done while I was at the city, but I did get a few things, so I will share them with you in the haul section. Aside from that, we just had a really chill, relaxing weekend. Saturday was absolutely beautiful. We did a bit of stuff outside, got some stuff set up for the horses for winter, and for November, we were working outside in light shirts. Probably could have been wearing t-shirts, and I was sweating. It was very nice out, the sun was shining, and we will definitely take that because we live in the Canadian prairies, and it is not uncommon for us to be covered in feet of snow right now. So thankfully we are not, and we are still enjoying fall very much. And as you can see, I still have my fall decor up. If the outside is going to be fall, I just want the inside to be fall. We will see how long that lasts. In my first 2 videos, I did get a few questions, not a lot, and I did answer them in the comments. However, I thought that it might be good to answer them on here just in case someone else might be curious on what the answer is. So I'm going to just go through the questions and answer them the best that I can. So Erica Forbes 68 asked, did you stitch the pumpkins for sale with the called for colors? Yours is a lot more bright than what I'm seeing on the pattern. I like yours better. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I'm just going to grab it here. So this is the pumpkins for sale. It is a Little House Needleworks design. And I did stitch it in the called for converted DMC colors. I don't believe I changed any of the colors. However, I did make a change. So if you can see this bottom row here, I don't know, you can see kind of close up, that it is two-toned checks. So the lighter color is ecru, I believe, and then the slightly darker color is just another cream color. And if I was to do this over again, I would probably look for a cream or a different color that had a little bit more of a contrast. So it stood out a little bit more, not a whole lot because I don't think it's meant to stand out a whole lot. However, that cream was charted in the K, and I knew it wasn't going to be enough contrast. As a matter of fact, I think I stitched the K and I sat with it for a bit and I did the rest of the pumpkins, and then I thought I needed to change it. So I did stitch the pumpkin. What I did, and I don't love it, but I wasn't about to rip it out twice. What I did was I just mixed the orange from this pumpkin and the orange from this pumpkin and did that. And I don't super love it. It actually, it looks like I mixed ketchup and mustard together. That's how I would describe that. But it's still, from far away, it looks perfectly fine, and you definitely can see the K much better. The next question is from Ann and Gack 6749, and she asked, have you thought about using a magnet on the back of the cross stitch instead of gluing it to the trivet? So this is the piece that she's referring to, and yes, I just glued the piece to the trivet, and I've been switching out the cottage of the months on this piece, and yes, I wanted to use a magnet so that I could easily switch them out. But when I went to the store to go get the magnets, they told me they don't sell magnets. This was a hardware store. They said, we don't sell magnets. You'll have to go buy them on Amazon. I just wanted to get my piece done. So I just use a dab of hot glue and it pulls off really easily so I can switch them out. At some point, I will get some magnets so I can do it properly. But in the meantime, a dab of glue was working just fine. So, and then the last question is from Ladybirds and Bees. And she said, how did you become a model stitcher? I couldn't handle that stress. First of all, it is not stressful at all, and probably because I am super lucky to have a really awesome designer who I'm stitching for. That's Erin Elizabeth Designs. To answer the question of how I become a model stitcher, I actually was stitching Erin Elizabeth's designs. She's one of my favorite designers, and I was watching one of her Flosstube videos, and she mentioned that she lived in Saskatchewan, as do I, and I of course had to reach out and say, hey, I'm also from Saskatchewan. I literally don't know any other cross stitchers in Saskatchewan except my mom. So it's so cool that one of my favorite designers is also from here. And then we messaged back a few times, back and forth a few times, and just connected that way. I guess she must have seen my stitching through my Instagram account, and one day she reached out and asked me if I would be interested in doing model stitching for her, and I was super honored for her to ask, and I said absolutely, I would love to do that, and here we are. And that is a perfect segue into my next segment, which is to share with you some of the model stitches that I've done that Erin Elizabeth has recently released. So this past weekend, she released a series of 4 charts called Autumn Village. They are all houses. There's one barn, which is my favorite. They are beautiful stitches. I love the colors in them. The trees are my absolute favorite, and they were a lot of fun to stitch there. All right, let's jump into my own stitching. So we're gonna start out with some new starts and whips. Before we go into the new starts, I want to share with you my November whip, my November cottage whip. So it is Cottage of the Month November from Country Cottage Needleworks. That's a bit of a mouthful. But this is November, and I was hoping to be done by this week, but that didn't happen. I'm thinking I will be done by next week. That'll be my goal, is to get this completely done and finished and on that trivet so I can take October off and actually have that on display in the actual month that it's meant to be in. And now I have 2 new starts to show you, both Christmas charts. I'm super excited. I could not wait to dive into this Carolyn Manning design. I have not stitched any of her designs before, and I don't know why, but I'm just so drawn to them. So this one's called Please Be Home for Christmas. It's gonna finish at almost 12 by 12 on this 32 count fabric. I just freshly started it, so you can see that. If you watched my last video, I mentioned I was hoping that I could get this done by Christmas this year, and probably most of you laughed at me. So we'll see how it goes. We're just gonna go with it, but I've been enjoying stitching it quite a bit. And my second new start of this week is the Holiday Homestead from the Prairie Schooler. I started with the goose and I finished it. And my plan for these is to make them into tree ornaments. And I did change the red because the red it was charted in, I'm thinking by looking at the cover photo that that DMC color must have changed since this chart was made, in, does it have a year? 1986. I'm thinking that red has changed through the years and it just wasn't looking right. So I did change it and I'm very happy with it. It still has that old vintage look to it in my opinion, but more true to what the chart cover looks like. Now I am working on the birdhouse on the top here, but I am just freshly getting that started. I'm excited to get some of these done as tree decor because I'm thinking with that cat, I need a lot less or no breakable items on my tree. So the best option, fill it with cross stitch. And my quilting whip for this week is still my Jelly Roll Jam quilt that is from a free pattern I got from Fat Quarter Shop's website. You guys, I'm so excited. It is still a whip because I have to finish sewing on the binding, but I am so proud of this. I'll show you the part that actually has binding done on it. I know this quilt is so simple. It's little and it's just literally jelly rolls chopped up and sewed together, but it was a great learning experience and I learned how to put it all together, quilt it myself, and then figured out how the heck to get the binding on, and I'm actually hand sewing it on myself. All of that is blowing my mind, and I know anyone who quilts regularly is probably rolling their eyes. I'm just super proud that I could do it, and I'm excited to move on to another project, but first I want to get this one done. I'm so close. I'm also really excited to share with you some fully finished pieces. I started stitching these last year, the poinsettia chart from the Pigeon Coop. It's a nice little design. It's beautiful colors. It came together very nicely, and I stitched 6 of them. I had 5 stitched. I finished stitching the other one this week. My plan for these the whole time was to make them into tree ornaments. I wasn't sure exactly how that was going to get done, but I did it. They are rustic, which is exactly what I wanted. So here is all 6 of them. I definitely got better at making these as I went along. The first few are a little sketchy, but I am so excited. I finished the backs as well. I have a red polka dot and then just a green fabric that I used. I'm excited to get my tree up now so that I can decorate with these. So what I did to finish these is I had some round pre-cut 3-inch pieces from Michaels, and I just mounted the stitching to one and the fabric to the other one, glued them together. I looped the twine to make the hanger, and then I also wrapped the edges in the twine. I just kept going around about 3 times so that it filled the hole. And like I said, they're a little bit rustic, but I love how they turned out and I'm super excited to get them on my tree. As I said earlier, I went to the city to do a little bit of shopping, so I'm going to share with you some of the pieces that I picked up. So I found this piece and thought it would be super fun to use. I have a piece in mind, maybe a couple different pieces in mind that would work good on here. I'm not necessarily looking forward to cutting that shape. Everything I'm showing you here came from Michaels. I also got this piece that I have another cross stitch in mind that I'm hoping will fit right into the bottom here. Michaels still had their Halloween stuff shoved onto a couple of racks and they were 60% off, and I've been meaning to grab 1 or 2 of these little tombstone decorations to do a Halloween finish on at some point. I don't have anything in mind, but I do think that they would be great for that. I'm kind of wishing that I grabbed more than 1. I like looking through the mini section at Michaels and I grabbed these little wreaths. This is the twine that I used to wrap my tree ornaments I just showed you. I also got this cording, this red and white cording. I guess they call it ribbon. It's not ribbon. I got this little string of Christmas lights. I have a cross stitch piece that has Christmas lights on it that I'm hoping I can incorporate this into the finish. I got red and black rickrack, so I can hopefully use that on some of my Christmas finishes. And then I picked up these boards. What are they? I don't even know. Wood plaques, they call them. They're handy to have around. I do like going through Michael's unfinished wood section to see if I can find anything good. So I did find a few pieces. I don't have a plan for these. There's a frame. So I do happen to have quite the collection of chalk paint here at my house. So these are nice to have around and I can customize them and use them as finishing pieces. Just before I sat down to record this video, I did shoot a quick video on my cross stitching space. So let's check that video out right now. All right, let's take a quick tour of the room that I stitch in. So it is a guest bedroom in my house, and a disclaimer, the wall color was here before we moved in and I don't love painting, so it's still green. It does show up as a brighter green in the video than it is in person, but I just wanted to point that out. This was not my choice of color. To begin with, the table that I stitch at. I know a lot of people prefer stitching at a couch or in a comfy chair, anything like that, but I have discovered that I prefer stitching at a table, so that's what I do. I will stitch anywhere, but my preference is a table. To the right of my table, I enjoy burning a candle, just to set the mood, have a little bit of ambiance. And I also have a basket with the current whips that I'm rotating through close by so I can grab them. So on my table, I have my stitching case, which is home to all of the stitching essentials that I need to work on all of my projects. I also have a magnetic board to hold charts if I need to. And then I always have my computer here for quick access when I need to reference something, whether that is a chart or I do keep my inventory of my floss on my computer. And then I have an alt light, some hand cream, hand lotion, because my hands, especially once the weather cools off, they get super dry. So it's nice to have that handy. Then I use a little pot or planter as my Ort container, and it surprisingly gets full pretty quickly. And then I also have a couple of plants of some sort always nearby as well, because I love to bring the outdoors indoors. And then the best part of all, and why I love stitching in this space, is because I have a nice beautiful view of my front yard. When the weather's nice out, I can open the window and let in all the sounds, and it's just super relaxing and one of my favorite spots in my house. I hope you enjoyed that little tour. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you so much for watching my video. I appreciate that so much. I would love for you to leave me a comment. As a matter of fact, if you've watched up to this point, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know where your favorite place to stitch is. You can also follow me on my social media. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is called Dusty Road Kim, and that is where I share everything from cross stitch to my horses to my yard and garden and all of that fun stuff. And then I also have another account called Cross Stitch Kim, and that is an edited down version of the other account that just shows my cross stitch stuff. So if you're just interested in that, you can follow me over there. All of the links to all of my socials as well as my blog are in the description of the video, so you can go check that out. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and I will be back next week for another video. Bye!